This is the Hidden Killers podcast with Tony Brueski.
Featuring author, psychologist, and daily contributor, Shavaun Scott.
Donna Adelson, stop talking on the phone. I think that would be the best advice one could give her after many jailhouse calls revealed her conversations with her son, Charlie, who has been convicted of murdering his former brother-in-law. Yeah, calls that very much led to her being stopped at the airport, detained, and then charged also in the conspiracy to kill Dan Markel. Joining me to discuss those conversations and where things may be at for Donna Adelson going forward, Shavaun Scott, psychotherapist and author. Let's talk about those calls and the nature of them. It's a lot of, on the surface, I would say, kind of self-aggrandized groupthink of we're unstoppable, or that we're always right no matter what, judging by the way that they looked at other people and just constantly telling each other how good they are when clearly things are not going very well for the Adelsons.
Yeah, this is a wonderful example of an entire family that's narcissistic. You know, can you have a family that's narcissistic? Usually we think of it as individual, but when you put them together as a family system, what an example of narcissism and contempt for other people and the self-aggrandizing. I mean, it's really striking how much this is like the core of how they relate to each other.
How often is that where you have a situation like this where the whole family really fits into that pattern? Like you said, quite often it's one figure. It's the mother, it's the father, maybe it's a child, adult child that kind of goes down that road of narcissism, extreme narcissism. Here, it seems to be the way that the whole group thinks and functions, and doesn't seem anybody breaks out of it, because why would you? This is normal. This was what life always has been.
Yeah, I have never known a lot of wealthy people. In fact, I don't think socially I know anybody now who's wealthy, but it's something we always think of people who consider themselves the upper class. You know, you'll see in sometimes political families or whatever, where there's this dynasty going on, and you see something that looks like, well, the whole bunch of them are narcissistic and think they're better than other people. But it's very unusual from my vantage point to see people who talk to each other like this and have the contempt for everybody that they have.
And that's what I find interesting here is you kind of look at maybe a potential defense for Donna Adelson when we're talking about someone who clearly seems extremely narcissistic in her way of thinking. But when you add the dynamic of the other people in there, a lot of times narcissists, they don't care necessarily about another human being or what's going to happen to them. A very clear defense here for Donna would be to throw Charlie under the bus. Say, look, he says things. I don't take a lot of them seriously because a lot of them are just empty threats. Oh my gosh, this happened. Did he mention something to me? Yeah, but I didn't think it was anything. And for that, I am sorry, but I was not conspiring with my son. Something around that nature. But I don't know that she would do that because of this weird narcissistic bond that they all share, that they're not going to throw each other under the bus. Do you think that's a possibility, or do you think that they're going to stick to this one, almost like they share one brain, if you will?
Exactly. That's putting it beautifully. I think they'll stick to this, we are a unit. And generally in that situation, they don't turn on each other. They just double down on it.
Wendy Adelson, someone who, obviously a lot of criticism about her possible involvement. Obviously, she's not been charged with any sort of crimes whatsoever. She's made a lot of statements, though, given testimony in court. What's your take on that from a psychological standpoint of what you've witnessed her standing on all of those charges against her brother and her mother?
She also just seems to be a person that thinks that she's above all of this and that the rules don't apply to her. She comes off very arrogant and very, self-satisfied, and that she has the right to do what she wants to do. And these were her children, and, she was going to do it her way. So
is this a family that believes that what they did was right? Because you don't hear anything in these phone calls about the actual crime itself, at least probably for good reason. I mean, they're smart enough not to say that, but not smart enough to go into many other things. Is this something where they're maybe not going to necessarily bring up, yeah, we were justified in killing Dan Markel, but they do truly believe that because of their intentions and their motives. So it's almost just an unsaid fact that, yeah, we had to do it. We got caught, but this was what should have been done.
Yeah, I think you nailed it. I think that before they would take an action like that, they would come up with this whole rationale in their minds about why it's the right thing to do. And these kind of people don't question themselves. They're not reflective. They're not self-aware. And in that sense, I'm sure they will go to their grave thinking that this was something that needed to happen. And the only thing that went wrong here is that somebody talked and they got caught.
Fascinating case. We'll continue to watch it as, of course, we'll have the Donna trial at some point, likely. I just wonder how many other Adelson trials we're going to see in the coming years.
Mm-hmm.
Sick of the ads?
We are too.
Start listening with no commercials now and get access to all of our episodes in advance of everyone else.
Become a True Crime Today Premium Plus subscriber on Apple Podcasts.
Search True Crime Today Premium Plus on Apple Podcasts or go to our podcast page and sign up now.
True Crime Today Premium Plus.
Sign up now.